is whenever you do this, so you have server modify health, the other thing you need to do are add these functions as well. This is new to 4.7. So you need to add one with underscore implementation on the end. So the same function name with implementation on the end, same function parameters. Oh, my keyboard, damn it. Same function parameters, chuck those in. And you also need to do virtual bool server modify health underscore validate, and again pass in the same stuff. That part there is new to 4.7, and that's purely because in earlier versions of Unreal it would automatically do that for you, but 4.7 doesn't do that anymore. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I think it's kind of silly that they took it out, but there's probably an underlying reason for it. Yeah, so you just create those. You don't actually create the server modify health function, you only do the implementation and the validate functions. How's that for a crash course in multiplayer? Bear in mind, I've only been doing multiplayer for like 3 months, so you must educate in uni. Believe me, I'm in no position to teach C++ in university. I'm not in any position to be doing C++ myself. There's probably people watching this with, you know, doing ultimate face palms right now. Added you on Skype. Yeah, it's fine. People can add me on Skype if you want. It's James_Baxter_SE. You can find me on the forums as well. I'm pretty active on the forums these days. So basically, add a function that gets called to client side and asks the server to set its pawn's position. When it comes to position and stuff, there's automatic stuff for you. So there's a checkbox in... Oh, I'm not running the engine. Let's run it again. For most actors, there's a checkbox with B replicates movement. If you check that, Unreal automatically has its own movement replication system. So location, rotation, and velocity will be replicated on their own, and it's pretty efficient as well. So you can just check that box. Like I'm doing that for this. All my movement is based on physics, and I'm just checking replicates movement, and that works fine. But I'm also doing some other crafty stuff as well. So movement's a complicated one because, I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever opened up character movement component, but like trying to make sense of that class is just, you know, if you're fairly new to C++, is way beyond me. Basically, what you tend to do is you want to make sure, so say for example, let's take a game for example, let's take Battlefield. If someone presses the W key, they want to like immediately move forward. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to wait for that press to go to the server, come all the way back, and then start moving forward and get the updates on their screen. You know, they want to go like straight away. You know, when someone wants to move, they want to move. Again, when they want to shoot, they want to shoot. So what you tend to do is you do it on the client and the server, so you process the movement on both, and then you replicate the movement as well. So you do it on the server, you do it on the client, and then whenever the client gets, as soon as the client gets the update from the server, you just force them to that new location. So I've actually got a function in here that does this. I'll show you that in a sec. What was I going to show you? Yeah, replication. It's in here somewhere. Replication, obviously. Yes, this one here replicates movement. So if you set that to true, Unreal will use its custom replication system. I'm saying it's not working. Yeah, depends. So long as you're moving it by setting its world location or you know, giving it some physics movement or something, it should work. Also, don't forget, obviously you've got replicate movement, make sure you've got replicate checked as well. And make sure your cull distance is up. That's something that's caught me out recently. If you start to stop seeing things replicate, smack that cull distance right up, because the default, although it looks like a massive number, it's squared, so it's actually really small. That caught us out a lot. Add actor local offset. Yeah, see, I don't know if that will do it or not. Because I guess it should. Because I think local offset does change the world position, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly it's best to just do it with the movement component because all the stuff in there, like client side prediction and stuff, it's already built in. Like they've done a hell of a lot of the hard work for you. Um, I'll show you the basics of what I do. So I do the whole replicates movement thing that Unreal does, but alongside that, in the is it the hovercraft? No, it is in the... Okay, so this is my hover tank movement components. This is where all the hovering stuff is done. The hover function itself, so this massive block of like code here, this is done both client and server side. So that hover function does actually set the velocity of the object. So that's done both client and server side. Now the problem is physics is massively unpredictable. So you never know, and it's also got like an element of random to it, so you can never be completely sure that the client and server are in the same place, in which case your whole game goes out of sync. So what I've got here is what I do is I replicate the input from the keyboard, I send that to the server through this function right here. Zoom in a bit. So update state. So all it does is it checks if this is a locally controlled actor. If it's not, then it sends the input to the server, and then the server does the calculation on itself. The client does the calculation itself. Okay, and then it then sets the... Oh, sorry, hang on, excuse me a minute, I'm losing myself. If we're not locally controlled, blah blah blah, well, it doesn't matter, that's all that function does. And then, when it gets an update, so when it gets that update, it then says, okay, so the new state of the input is whatever the server says it is. It's not what the client thinks it is. So that way you can always be sure that the output of the hover function will be identical no matter where you are. Pretty cool. And obviously the fact that it replicates movement means that it constantly sets its position anyway. The best place to look if you want to look at replication is wheeled vehicle movement component, because it's all done manually in there and it's quite a small class. It's easy to make sense of because all the physics stuff is handled. Ooh, so what else have we got going on? Validate is for preventing cheating. Yeah, so what I can do, I mean, I actually tried to implement it, but it kicked me out straight away. So in here, for example, in server update state validate, what I can do is I can do checks in here. So I can basically say, right, you've done this. Now, if let's say I've sent a boolean to the client that says, is dead equals true. If I now in here check if is dead is equal to the server's version of is dead, then do nothing. However, if they're not equal, so for example, if this validate function returns false, then it kicks the client from the game. That's basically what it does. The problem is it's very, very strict, so it doesn't allow much time for those things to happen, if that makes sense. So for example, you wouldn't want to send the input and then check if the world position is the same, because it might take time for the client to catch up, and actually process the movement. So you don't want to do that too often. To be honest, most of the time it's kind of pointless. You don't really need to. But it is super useful. If you've got a turn-based strategy game, for example, or you've got a game that's running in lockstep, that'd be really good. Something like StarCraft or Command and Conquer or something. Yeah, so normally what you do with the validate function is, obviously, you don't want it to kick the client, so you just do return true, and it basically just means don't kick them, just, let them do whatever they got to do. How about this server reticle option inside of World of Tanks? Where you run No idea when it comes to server reticle. Don't know what that's all about. I mean, my reticle's kind of bodged at the moment. I'm not even going to go into the reticle stuff right now because it's nowhere near finished. I don't want anyone to pick up any bad habits from it, so I won't show that. But all I basically do is I do a trace from the socket. I do some calculations that determine where the thing's going to land. I then figure out what that position is in world position, in world position, and then I project that to screen coordinates. And all I do is I have like a UMG widget, which is the little reticle, and all it does is on tick it just constantly sets its own position to that new projected position. There's actually a function in, again, I'll load up the editor. I should stop closing this. There's a function you can do this in player controllers. This is a function that Rama added as a pull request, and it actually got added in. There is one glitch with it though that I'll show you, which I do need to fix, and I'll probably submit a pull request for this at some point because it's very annoying. But yeah, if I go into script player controller quickly, in here, event graph, there's a function called convert world location to screen location. So all I do is I feed in the position that the projectile is going to hit, and out of that I get a 2D vector, which is like a position on the screen. And then in the actual widget itself, where are we? Where is the widget? Where's the widget? Reticle. So this is what the widget is. It's literally just this, with a little square in it with an image in there. And all it does is on tick. This could probably be done a bit more efficiently. It just gets the it gets that 2D vector and then just sets its position on screen. The only problem is the projection doesn't work unless you are full screen at native resolution. So, for example, if I hit play, it's kind of hard to see here, but you'll notice that the location is a little bit off. Like the reticle's a little bit lower, and that's because I'm not in full screen mode. It's probably easier to show this in another window, but window. Yeah, so you can see it's like off a little bit, and that's because of the size of the window. It's just a glitch with that, so something to be aware of in the future. It will only work 100% if you're full screen. And at the resolution that you've specified as well. Otherwise, it will do all kinds of crazy stuff. There's probably a really easy way to fix that, but again, I'm not massive on C++. Well, not good enough at C++ to be happy diving into engine code, and definitely not changing anything that Rama's written. So yeah. Sorry, I kind of went off topic a bit on this stream, but I hope that it was useful to people. I'm not really expecting anyone to be able to go away and write this immediately, but like I said, I'm going to try and put together like an example project that has just this camera code in it, so you can look at it and tear it apart and see how it actually works, because you know that's the best way to learn most of the time. So long as there's nothing massively bugging anyone, I think we'll call it a day. I'll stick this up on YouTube and start working on the little project that I'll put up. I need to deliver on a past promise as well. I did say from my last stream that I'd put the project up from that one, so I need to do that. So I'll kill two birds with one stone and do them both at the same time. You know, it's easier to talk about C++ than it is to actually do it. Oh, nothing's popping up. It's really cool. Thanks guys. Again, sorry I'm going massively off topic. I'm still new to this stream stuff, so bear with me. I will be Zach Parrish Mark II one day. Although I have a lot of newfound respect for those guys. I have no idea how they keep things so concise. Awesome. Right, well, I'm glad it was useful to some of you guys. Like I said, I'll put the project up. The video will be on YouTube probably within the next couple of hours, so you'll be able to watch all the mistakes back again. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Cheers, guys. See you next time.